How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. You're about to see some seriously freaky video clips. So hit that subscribe button and get ready for more creepy content. Just like this. Starting today's episode off with a short and creepy little clip. This one was uploaded to TikTok by user at dingy_AYD. It's some home security footage showing a quiet dining room late at night. Everything looks perfectly normal until something strange happens. Startled, the family dog begins barking furiously at the empty space near the table, but what happens next is even more unsettling. The dog suddenly jerks backward as if shoved by something invisible. Some commenters think it's a clear case of paranormal activity, poltergeist behaviour perhaps, while others suggest clever editing. But the clip's simplicity and the dog's raw instinctive reaction make it all the more chilling. Gang, we have a huge announcement. We are officially live over on Spotify. Our paranormal deep dives, our true crime deep dives from Slapped Ham Mysteries are now over on Spotify. So you can listen to our stories anywhere you go. So if you can, follow the link in the description box down below. We'll also pin in the comments. Follow us over there on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review if you can. Helps us spread out and find a new audience on Spotify, which would be awesome. So there you go. We've got quite a few episodes up there already, and we'll be releasing new episodes every Friday, Eastern Standard Time, around 10 or 11 a.m. So keep an eye out on that. Best way to do it is to hit that follow button. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a brand new episode. So check us out on Spotify. Much appreciated. Our next story takes us to a suburban home where a simple Halloween decoration turned into a terrifying ordeal. A woman named Erika Harrington had ordered a decorative doll from Amazon for her upcoming Halloween celebration. At first, it seemed like nothing more than an ordinary prop, until Erika noticed that the doll seemed to move on its own.
You can see right here, you see how she's turning around? Okay, that's normal because of the wind. But hold up, look at her. She's turning back around.
Whenever she stepped outside, she claimed the doll would shift positions, always turning slightly toward her, as though it were watching her every move.
She turns and she continues to look at me. Now I'm trying to get myself in the house at this point.
What disturbed her most was that the doll never moved randomly. It always seemed to deliberately face her.
Why are you stopping right there to look at me? I don't play that. It's time for her to go.
Then things escalated. Erika began receiving motion alerts from her home camera showing a person detected on the porch. But each time she checked, no one was there. Her garage door opened on its own. Her dog began staring at empty windows as though following something invisible. And when she looked closer at a photo of the doll sitting in a chair, commenters pointed out something she hadn't seen before, what looks like faces reflected in the window. She placed the doll in her husband's car trunk and began contacting priests and mediums for help. One medium told her that the doll carried a dark presence and advised her to get it out of the house immediately. In her final video, Erika films herself shipping the doll back. She says she can finally breathe again, but admits the house still feels off.
She's gone. I'm walking away. God, I just hope my house is okay.
Her Halloween goblin decorations, which had stood perfectly still for years, began turning toward each other, and a small green pumpkin decoration kept rotating on its own to face the street. Even after the doll was gone, she said she could still feel its energy. She ended her last video saying she would be cleansing the home and her family, swearing off Halloween decorations altogether. Erika's story has since gone viral, sparking debate among viewers. Some believe the doll carried something truly supernatural. Others say it's coincidence, faulty sensors, wind, or stress manifesting in strange ways. But the chilling detail that her security camera detected someone present when no one was visible continues to unsettle even the skeptics. So what do you think? Just an unlucky Halloween prop, or something far darker that refused to be ignored? This eerie set of photos was sent in by a viewer named Bailey S, and the story behind them is enough to send chills down your spine. The pictures were taken back in 2012 on Halloween night in Sandy, Oregon. Bailey was posing with her 2-year-old sister-in-law before heading out to trick-or-treat. Her mother-in-law was the one taking the photos, just a few quick snapshots in the living room before they left. In the first image, everything seems perfectly normal. A sweet family photo showing Bailey and the toddler. But in the second photo, taken only seconds later, something inexplicable appears. Reflected in the window behind them is the clear image of a man standing in the room. The problem? Bailey swears there were only 3 people in the house at the time: her sister-in-law, and her mother-in-law. No one else was present, and certainly no one who looked like the man in the reflection. They didn't notice anything unusual until later that night when reviewing the photos. By then, the house was quiet, locked up, and empty, except perhaps for whoever or whatever appeared in that window. This next clip has left viewers completely stumped. Captured on home CCTV and posted by Dinge_AYD, it shows a man sleeping soundly on a bed while his dog wanders into the room. But then things take a strange turn. The man wakes suddenly, but it looks like the dog somehow slipped behind the chest of drawers. A second later, the same dog, or what looks exactly like it, reappears at the doorway, standing calmly as if nothing happened. Some viewers believe it's just an illusion, perhaps a second similar-looking dog entering the room at the same time, but others aren't so sure. They insist the footage looks too seamless, too uncanny, suggesting it could be evidence of a glitch in the Matrix or even a brief slip in time or space. So what do you think? Camera glitch, twin dog, or something reality-bending happening in that room? Back in 2022, popular online personality Asil Al-Mublaq went viral after a chilling live stream encounter. During a casual late-night session on a platform similar to chat roulette, Asil connected with a woman he didn't recognize. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. They exchanged greetings, enjoyed some music together, and she even asked him to play the song again. But when Asil began talking to her more directly, he noticed something was off. Her tone, her expression, and even the timing of her reactions began to feel unnatural. The atmosphere shifted. Sensing something wasn't right, he decided to test what he was feeling. Asil played a recording of verses from the Quran. The woman's expression changed and she abruptly left the live stream. viewers flooded the comments, convinced they'd just seen a seal come face to face with something supernatural, a jinn. According to Islamic belief, jinn are spiritual beings created from smokeless fire. Like humans, they can be good or evil, but evil jinn are said to fear the Quran, especially verses that glorify Allah's power and majesty. When confronted with Quranic recitation, evil jinn often flee instantly, unable to withstand the divine words. On the other hand, righteous jinn, those who follow Allah, find comfort and peace in the sound. As for a seal, he later told his followers that he couldn't explain what happened, only that he felt a powerful energy the moment he began playing the Quran, and that the woman's sudden disappearance confirmed his suspicions. So was this just an eerie coincidence, or something not of this world revealing itself online? This next clip was sent in by viewer Jessica P, and it comes straight from the security cameras of a local brewery, and what it captured is truly strange. At exactly 1:28 AM on October 10th, the brewery was completely empty. Chairs were stacked, lights were out, and the front doors were locked for the night. But on CCTV, a glowing orb of light suddenly appears inside the tasting room. Whatever it is, it hovers above the counter before drifting across the floor. The light doesn't behave like dust or glare. It's too bright, too controlled, and even seems to change direction mid-air before splitting off and vanishing completely. Jessica says no one was outside or inside the building at the time, and that all entry points were secure. She describes it simply as an unexplained light that breaks off. While skeptics might chalk it up to insects, headlights, or lens artifacts, others think it looks too luminous and deliberate, suggesting it could be a paranormal manifestation, perhaps the spirit of a former worker or a lingering energy tied to the location. Whatever it was, the brewery owners still can't explain what appeared on camera that night. This eerie submission comes from a viewer named Penn who captured something strange while working on a creative project, a stop-motion film featuring a small fox puppet. The photo was taken back in 2013 using an iPod Touch in a quiet private garden that once stood on the historic grounds of Eltham Palace in London. Penn says they were alone at the time, carefully photographing the puppet frame by frame. But when they looked back at the image later, something unexpected had appeared. Next to the puppet, you can see what looks like a shadowy set of legs. Penn insists that no one else was present and that the shadow wasn't visible when the photo was taken. What's even stranger is that Eltham Palace, known for its centuries of history and royal connections, has long been rumoured to be haunted. Built on medieval foundations, parts of the property are said to be home to ghostly figures that have been seen wandering the gardens and corridors. Was this just an odd trick of light, or did Penn accidentally capture a spectral presence from the palace's storied past? Coming up in our last segment, we take a look at one of the most influential poltergeist cases in history. But before we do, hit that like button as it really helps us reach new audiences. In 1938, in the quiet suburb of Thornton Heath, Croydon, just south of London, the ordinary home of Alma Fielding, a 34-year-old housewife, became the stage for one of the strangest and most influential poltergeist cases ever recorded. What began as a domestic haunting spiraled into a psychological mystery that would change how paranormal investigators understood ghosts forever. The case, later called the Croydon poltergeist, was investigated by Nandor Fodor, a Hungarian Jewish journalist and psychical researcher who served as chief research officer at the International Institute for Psychical Research. Fodor's findings would ultimately bridge the gap between psychical research and psychoanalysis, proposing that hauntings might not come from external spirits at all, but from the hidden trauma of the human mind. In February 1938, strange things began to happen in the Fielding home. While Alma and her husband Les were bedridden with illness, a six-fingered handprint appeared on the mirror beside their bed. That night, a tumbler shattered mid-air, a cold wind lifted their eiderdown, and an invisible force hurled objects across the room. The next morning, the chaos intensified. Their teenage son, Don, narrowly dodged a flying pot of face cream, and the family's lodger was struck by 2 coins that seemed to materialize from nowhere. A light bulb unscrewed itself from the ceiling, vanished, and was later found still hot to the touch on a nearby chair. Word spread quickly. On February 19th, reporters from the Sunday Pictorial newspaper arrived, and what they witnessed made front-page news the next day under the headline, "Ghost Wrecks Home." They saw an egg shoot down the corridor, a china dog crash to the floor, a chunk of coal sail across the room, and a teacup explode in Alma's hands. Among those captivated by the story was Nandor Fodor. Desperate to prove the existence of genuine supernatural phenomena and to restore his credibility after exposing several fraudulent mediums, Fodor travelled to Croydon to meet the Fieldings. Initially, he suspected a classic haunting, but as he spent more time with Alma, he began to notice that the activity always seemed to centre around her. When she grew emotional, the phenomena intensified. When she calmed down, it stopped. Fodor arranged for Alma to be examined under strict laboratory conditions at the IIPR headquarters in Kensington. There, researchers observed more strange phenomena. Objects appearing out of thin air, glass breaking, and small animals inexplicably materializing. Among the apports or manifested objects were a scarab beetle, a Javanese sparrow, an ancient oil lamp, a fossilized shell, and even a white mouse. Once, while traveling by car, a live terrapin appeared suddenly in Alma's lap. But things took a darker turn in May 1938, when Fodor, now suspicious, ordered Alma to undergo X-rays before a séance. The results revealed that she had been concealing items, including a locket and brooch, within her body cavities to simulate supernatural manifestations. Fodor didn't stop there. Instead of dismissing her as a fraud, he saw in Alma something much more complex, a woman expressing deep psychological pain through physical phenomena. He concluded that the poltergeist was not an external entity, but rather a manifestation of Alma's repressed trauma and inner turmoil. Fodor's notes painted Alma as a woman trapped in a web of personal suffering. She had lost multiple children, endured invasive medical procedures including a mastectomy and hysterectomy, and was locked in an unhappy marriage to a man who was emotionally and physically distant. Under this strain, Fodor theorized, Alma's mind had split, one part performing the haunting unconsciously as an emotional release, while the other part remained unaware. He described the poltergeist activity as objectifications of mental anguish, physical eruptions of repressed emotion. This interpretation shocked his peers. His colleagues at the IIPR, scandalized by his Freudian approach and allegations of sexual repression, expelled him later that year. His papers were seized and thought lost during the Blitz, but rediscovered decades later by historian Kate Summerscale, who chronicled the case in her acclaimed book, The Haunting of Alma Fielding. Fodor's investigation unfolded in the shadow of World War II as Britain teetered on the brink of conflict. Reports of ghosts and hauntings surged across the country, which Fodor and later historians interpreted as manifestations of national anxiety, collective hauntings born from fear of the unknown. Alma's story in this light became a microcosm of her era, a woman's domestic haunting reflecting the psychic unrest of pre-war Britain, where rigid gender roles and psychological repression left little room for the unspoken to surface except in supernatural form. Though his career with the IIPR ended in controversy, Fodor's revolutionary theory laid the groundwork for a new understanding of hauntings. His work influenced later writers and filmmakers from Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House to Stephen King's Carrie. stories where the supernatural and the psychological intertwine. In 1958, he published On the Trail of the Poltergeist, reaffirming his belief that ghosts were not spirits of the dead, but echoes of the living. The screams of the subconscious made visible. The Croydon poltergeist remains one of the most bizarre and psychologically revealing hauntings in history. A story of shattered glass, psychic pain, and a woman whose anguish seemed to bend the laws of physics. For Fodor, the haunting was not a visitation from beyond, but a reflection from within. Proof that sometimes the most frightening ghosts are the ones we create ourselves. Now, if you want to see some more spooky content, then hit those links right there. They'll keep you entertained for hours and hours. Leave us some feedback down in the comments. Which one of these clips you thought was the scariest or weirdest? We love hearing your feedback. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.